Greetings, Mission and Vision team. I am so sorry that I cannot be there with you today, but I want you to know how inspired I am by you and by the work you've done, the very work that will allow me to share my comments and my thoughts in a few moments. I just wanted to say how inspired I am by you in the work that you've done, in the way that the mission and vision statement has changed. It's been sculpted into something quite beautiful that I think many coaches and teachers and eventually students will feel the effect of. In the spirit of our love for literacy, I thought that I would respond to your request and your comments through the form of a letter. So I wrote a letter to you, which I will read. Dear Mission and Vision team, it is my honor to share a few thoughts on the work you've dedicated yourselves to during the creation, no, the sculpting of this mission and vision process. I use the metaphor of sculpting as it appears to me that you use the tool of the self, your individual selves and the collective body, to examine where the mission and vision of this organization lived within each of you. And then you brought all of that to the table to shape and reshape and present your current work. And this is a work of art. The art of language and understanding how language impacts the thoughts and the actions of others. This process itself, I want you to see, has been one of exemplifying critical love, a profound and ethical commitment for the MAISA Coaching Network. The language of the mission and vision statement, specifically when it requires coaching practices to, quote, dismantle oppressive policy and literacy practices in order to uproot systemic inequalities. That is an example of critical love. If you look at any movement in our country that has brought about massive change in practices and policies and the way people are treated, behind it are people who have shown what? Critical love, a profound and ethical commitment for the freedom of those experiencing oppressive policies and conditions. This type of critical love asserts that we are all humans and therefore deserve to be treated, and specifically in the case of education, taught equally, not judged by race, religion, class, sexual orientation, actually characteristics that make us uniquely human. A humanizing literacy practice sees children for their potential, sees them as agents in their own learning, sees them as beings who desire a life of progress and flourishing, things that we desire, even if they don't yet have the language to express that. A humanizing literacy sees the child and not the test score, recognizes that the current reading level is a milestone before getting to the next reading level, the next milestone. A humanizing literacy recognizes that children want to learn to read and write from teachers and school systems who recognize, honor, and understand theories that show evidence that when a child and their teachers' backgrounds are appreciated and celebrated, that this makes learning more interesting, that in fact, when children's backgrounds are not seen, or teachers' backgrounds are not seen as a hindrance, that teaching and learning and inherently human practice incrementally occurs. This critical love, a profound and ethical commitment to the freedom to learn for communities we serve, and viewing what coaches do as a humanizing pedagogy can only lead to different outcomes for students, and particularly those students who have been raised in communities where the members of that community struggle due to societal forces beyond their control. Coaches who encourage teachers to critically love all of their students and treat them, as Dr. Asa Hilliard suggests, as geniuses, really shifts mindsets. And when we shift mindsets, we shift our policies, and the shifting of our policies produce different outcomes for everyone. So speaking of Dr. Asa Hilliard, he once wrote, "I have never met any children of any group who are not geniuses. There is no mystery on how to teach them. The first thing you do is treat them as human beings. And the second thing you do is love them." The biggest challenge that you will have is to get teachers to see the children in their classroom as their own. And even if that is not possible, at least the mission and vision statement will encourage them to recognize how society may have written a particular script for their student, and that critical love is needed to shift the student's future. This all begins with loving them critically and treating them as human beings. Y'all know I get emotional about this. This will be evident, the critical love and humanizing practices will be evident in how teachers speak to children and families, how they speak about children and families when they are not present, whether or not literacy activities that they engage the children with are joyful and culturally relevant. And if the classroom environment where the children are learning is a welcoming one for all of who they are. There is really not a mystery to creating a welcome environment for children. You will know that it is a welcome environment because the children will feel loved. The language of the mission vision statement invites coaches and teachers to do just this, to critically love, to engage in humanizing pedagogies, and to seek freedom for themselves as well as their students. And particularly as you emphasize the cultivation of a literacy learning environment that is dedicated to justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion, the guiding principles of critical love through a humanizing pedagogical approach takes the mystery out of this language of diversity, of equity, of justice and inclusion. Working with the mission and vision team has allowed me to grow in my professional development skills and in my own humanity. Each of you embraced me even as I shared information from my life and shared history, our shared history that was charted with inequality. You looked within and seriously engaged in archaeology of self to produce the work with the intention of bringing about change. And that change will happen for the MAISA network. I truly believe this because this work that you've done is rooted in the energy of change, and it has certainly changed me and my practice. I'm more confident in leading a group toward a mission and vision, and more open with sharing about my life, and believing that no matter what I reveal, I will still be accepted and even loved for sharing my truth. Thank you for giving me that opportunity. I have also grown while creating with Lisa the hybrid course, Make the Road by Walking. I am grateful for the first cohort of participants and cannot wait for the second cohort this June. If you've not signed up for the course, please do. We continue this journey together, a journey that we know takes a lifetime and one that we know is worth continuing as we evolve into the human beings that we know we can become. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you soon.